Continues. We can speak live now to Paul Smith, human rights activist and director of the Iran Sanctions and Trade Observatory, a think tank focused on the Iranian regime. Paul, really appreciate your time this evening. Can I just start by getting your reaction to some breaking news we've had in the past few minutes? The Pentagon has reportedly concluded that an attack on a girls' school in Iran that killed more than 165 people at the start of this conflict was the fault of the US military. What is your response?
That's terrible. You know, any civilian death, especially this innocent girl's death, is terrible, and is unfortunately part and parcel of a military attack on Iran or any other country.
And what do we know about the latest death toll on Iran and the impact these strikes are having on the country?
The exact number is very hard to verify because the Iranian regime has imposed a total internet blackout for over 280 hours so far. But the lowest estimate, according to the regime, is 1,200 people have been killed in the first days of the war. But some monitoring groups and opposition groups believe that's already been in several thousands. Unfortunately, there are some civilian deaths, including what you mentioned earlier.
And in terms of the response we are seeing from the Iranian regime, we've obviously been seeing these strikes, drone and missile attacks on some of their neighbours in the Gulf and indeed on military bases in the region. We've also seen that 3 cargo ships have been hit in the Strait of Hormuz. For how long do you think the Iranians will be able to keep fighting? And could the nature of their response change? I'm thinking in particular of the terror cells that we know the IRGC has in the West.
Look, the scale of the attack is decreasing as we go by the time. Israel and America have destroyed already a big part of the launchers, and also they are going to at some point run out from drones and other equipments they have. How long they can survive, I don't know, but they have been hit heavily. They don't have a navy, they don't have an air force or a defense system, they don't have any legitimacy inside the country, so all they have is these rockets, missiles and drones which are gonna run out in the next few weeks. I'm just saying, under no scenario, Iranian regime with no leadership can defeat American army, the most strongest army in the world.
Are we, in a sense then, in a race against time? So if you're the Iranian regime, you are trying to keep fighting for as long as you can before your missiles and drones run out. But if you're America, you're trying to keep fighting and outlast any impact that Iran can have in terms of an oil shock. So basically, it's who can stomach it for longer, who's going to feel the pain first. Will the Americans decide that the cost of their economy is just too much? They want to end this conflict?
That's correct. I think we have two major agenda. America's agenda is to get control of the Strait of Hormuz and control the oil price, because that would bring a lot of pressure in the West, in Europe and in America. I think Israel somehow overlaps with America. But their main objective is to destroy the Iranian regime because they are an existential threat against Israel. So we have these two countries with the overlapping agenda, and I don't think there would be any scenario that Iranian regime can survive this unless we see another tackle from Trump, which I saw on CNN just an hour ago. We are at a point in the war that even Trump wants to tackle on this one. It's too late for that. So he has to go to the end.
Yeah, TACO, the acronym that has been widely used in relation to his tariff policy of Trump always chickens out. The suggestion being that, he may decide that this war is becoming too hot for him and the oil price spike is spooking him, and so he may decide to wrap up military operations and find a way of claiming victory. You mentioned the Iranian regime and how long it can last. Is there a scenario still in which the regime falls at the beginning of this military campaign? That seemed to be one of the objectives from the Americans, but they've sort of hedged a bit on that since. Do you still think regime change could be on the cards?
Yes, of course it's on the card. The regime is in a very fragile situation. That's why they are now threatening people openly on their media, on the news. Today, the Tehran's police head, Radan is his name, openly says on the news, says, our finger is on the trigger. Anyone comes to the street, we will kill them. And now they've put like hundreds of checkpoints. I've watched the videos. I've talked to people in Tehran. There are checkpoints that stop people at gunpoint. They drag them out of the car, open their phone, check their WhatsApp messages, check the photos and videos and galleries, check their social media, what they like and what they follow. And now, just an hour ago, I saw Israeli drones now are targeting these drones right now in Tehran, and the IRGC-backed Fars news agency just published the news that tens of IRGC members have been eliminated by these drones tonight, but the numbers are much more.
Paul, really appreciate your time this evening. Thank you for joining us. Paul Smith there, human rights activist and director of the Iran Sanctions and Trade Observatory.